What is the legal significance of populism? This was the question Norbert Paulo and I had when we assembled a group of legal philosophers from different countries like Brazil, Italy, the Netherlands, Turkey, Austria, and Germany. In my own paper, I tried to establish the thesis that populism is not only a threat to democracy, but also a threat to the rule of law, or as the principle is called in Central Europe, the principle of the legal state. And furthermore, not only a threat to either of them, but to the dialectical unity of the two. The reason for this threat is the structure of the communication, of the form of communication populists use. And populism can even be identified as a form of political communication that tries to achieve its goals by breaking up this dialectical unity of democracy, or the procedural aspect of the legitimation of public authority, and the institutional aspect, or the rule of law. One can at least characterize, if not define, populism by a certain form of communication. First aspect of this characterization is the immediacy of their convictions. They have primordial, non-discursive convictions. Ideology plays an important role. Truth is not something that has been achieved by the scientific procedure, but populists tend to speak of felt truth, truisms, and of fake news. They communicate directly with politicians. Populist politicians communicate directly with the members of their movements, not even parties, because these movements are not considered, as Jan Werner Müller has called it, a part of the political process, but we are the people, and who are you? These populist movements assume that they represent the whole of the people, although they are only part of them. So static preferences, form of communication, a strong antagonism of good and evil, strong identities, use of naturalistic metaphors, like Orban spoke in 2015, spoke of the flood of migrants. These naturalistic metaphors tend to support an irrational argumentation. So this is a little bit of a characteristic of the political process, of the political will formation in populist parties. When they come to power, they immediately seize the legal institution safeguarding the political process. And now this is the target of populist movements, which I'm going to also only characterize in this very short video. The target is not the democratic process. Some of the populists, left or right wing, they even promise to give you more democracy. Promising this, they neglect that democracy depends on the law, just as well as law depends on democracy. Democracy depends on laws, on rights, on enforceable human and fundamental rights, because for the will formation in the political process, you need the freedom to form this will, to articulate the will, and the freedom of opinion or the freedom of speech. You need the possibility to form associations and not forbid them because there is some supposed foreign influence. You need a system of public communication through media. Now, this pluralistic system of media does not necessarily mean that all newspapers, all broadcast systems are pluralistic, but the landscape should be pluralistic. And this pluralism, as a precondition for an efficient democracy, is secured by fundamental rights and by courts enforcing those. And these courts quite readily become the target of populists as soon as they have seized power, as soon as they have been elected. Law, on the other hand, depends on, for its legitimacy, for its legitimation, on the democratic process. So the laws safeguarding the democratic process are themselves expressions of this democratic process. And this unity of democracy and the principle of the legal state, or principle of the rule of law, this unity I would call dialectic. And populists do not either target democracy, nor are they anti-institutional. Because some of the institutions are transformed in a way that serve their interests. But what they threaten is this mutual dependency of democracy on rules, and these legal rules depending on democratic processes. So this is the basic idea I try to defend in a paper that has been published in a book on populism, which was published just recently. Maybe you find it interesting. Thank you.